Okay, so let's begin today's class. So in the last class we discussed a little bit about what death is, right? And today we will specially focus on what one of the greatest actually masters of the present times, Sadhguru, has to say about death. Okay, so Sadhguru is a very funny man. He is considered to be one of the mystics. He is a mystic, they say, mystic, right? A seeker. He never says I'm a believer. He says that he's a seeker. He seeks what truth is. He is in the process of finding truth, and he has claimed that he has found the truth of this being, of this life. He knows what this life is. He has completely mastered this life, and he says that. Okay, so look at his figure. Look at his picture. He looks very interesting, right? He looks very interesting. Sadhguru. He has an ashram in India, in Tamil Nadu. Okay, he has a huge ashram, and he has a huge following as well. Following. That means he has a lot of followers. So this is as a part of our English course that we'll discuss about death. And Sadhguru says that death is a fiction. What is a fiction? Fiction is something that is not real. That is to say, death does not exist. There is no such thing as death. We do not die, isn't it? We do not die. We feel that we die, but in fact we do not die. Death is a fiction. And he says there is only life and life alone. There is only life, there is no death. Death is another dimension of life. Death is not the death that we think it is. It's not the way we understand. We do not, completely escape from this world, from this creation, from this existence. We move from one dimension of life to the other dimension of life. And death is that transition. Death is that transition. Is that transition. What is transition? Transition is change from state A to state B. Just like when you have an ice cube, if you melt it, it becomes water. And then if you still keep on heating water, what happens to it? It becomes a vapor, right? It becomes steam. And after a while, you don't see the way you have seen the water, right? What has happened? It has gone through that transition from ice cube to water, from water to steam. And if you ask somebody, what would a person say? Oh, the water is gone forever, right? The water is not anymore there. That because you can't see it. But what is the truth? The one who knows the reality, the one who knows the truth, he knows that what? He or she, of course, knows what? Right. Water is still there. All that has happened is it has transitioned in a different state. Right? Water is still there. Life is also like this. Death is also life. Death is like a transition. There is no such thing as death. Death is just a transition. Think about it. What happens if, let's say, ice becomes water upon heating? When you heat, what happens? What happens? Ice becomes heat. Ice becomes water, right? This process of this transition, what is that? Well, we have given names such as, I think, liquidification. But liquidification is not the truth. It is just a name of that transition. Similarly, death is also transition from life A to life B. Death is also a transition from life A to life B. Life that we think, that we perceive the way we are from this body, to another life. And that I don't know what it is. But there is life after that also. Alright? So, let's go through what Sadhguru has to say about his experience, about his knowledge. Life moves from one dimension to another, right? Isn't it? Life moves from one dimension to the other. Just like, think about your life. You were young, right? You were a child. Now you are 15, 16, 17, and then you will be 18, 19, 20, and then you will be 40, you will be 50, and then you will be 80. Are you a child anymore? Is child dead? You were born, you were a small baby, right? A toddler, an infant. You become now a teenager, right? You have become adolescents. Is that child dead? That was there about 15 years back? No. What has happened? It has changed, it has transitioned, it has moved from one dimension to the other. It has become an adolescent from that child itself. That is what death is. Life moves from one dimension to another dimension. One aspect of life moves on to the other aspect of life. The bodily life moves on to another life that we may not know, we don't know, right? We are limited of that knowledge. But still, life moves from one dimension to the other. And Sadhguru says that people have had a lot of near-death experiences. There are a lot of people who have had near-death experience. That means almost death. But is there a person who knows, who has experienced death? Do we know? Do we have a first-hand experience of death? This is the mystery. Right? We know so much about life. We know so much about things. We know so much about the others. We know, okay? We in fact don't know much. But we have, explored what love is, what relationship is, what are the ingredients to become happy, what makes us sad, what is enlightenment. Oh my God, multiple different things. We know so much. We know, okay? We don't know, in fact, a lot. Just we consider that because we have read so much, we talk so much, right? I'm talking, right? I'm talking about death now. I don't know what death is, right? But who has this experience of death? Who knows death? Is there someone who knows death? Baba, nobody knows. And that's the mystery. And nobody has been able to touch this topic of death so far. So in my lecture, somebody is already dying here because somebody is moving somewhere in another dimension of life. He is snoring already. That is another dimension of life. Him is not anymore here. All right? Sleeping is also moving on to another dimension. For a few hours, you move into the other zone of life, or the other aspect of life. So, there is nothing wrong with death. Sadhguru says nothing wrong with death. If there is nothing wrong, if death never happens, if death is a fiction, why do we worry so much about death? What makes us sad and what makes us worry about death? Oh my God, I'm going to die. I should do this, I should do that. The only thing people are scared of in this life, in this world, is death. Hello, Baba, don't snooze, huh? Right? Should we be scared of death? Should we worry death or should we not? Tell me, yes or no? No? No. Why? It's very rational also. It's very rational. You can actually come to you can build a logic to say or to really feel that, okay, there's nothing, no point in dying and no point in worrying about death, because you do not experience death. After death, it's over. The game is over. The moment of death, right? The moment of death, after that you do not carry anything. Why should you worry? Whether it's painful, whether it's not painful, there's no point in worrying. You die, it's over. But on the other hand, on the spiritual aspect also, death, in fact, death is not there. Because in Hinduism we say, what? There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Sri Krishna says, what does he say? Do you remember the one? That our existence never dies. It can neither be killed, it can neither be chopped, neither can you make it wet. Najayate mriyate va kadachit, nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya, ajo nitya saswatoyam purano. Something like that. Or nainam chindanti sastrani, right? Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, nachainam kledayanti apo, nashoshayati maruta. The real existence of who we are never dies, right? The soul, there is nothing wrong with the death. So there is no first-hand experience about death. If there is no first-hand account of something, who has created, oh, death is like this, death is like that? Nobody knows what death is. Nobody has seen death. Nobody has experienced death. Just because I say somebody, I have made a fiction. Oh,